Thank you, Madam Chair. And Commander Zinke, thank you for your willingness to step forward and serve in a very different capacity. We have had a lot of discussions today about issues relating to the Department of Interior and your role. One that I want to focus on is the national parks. I think it's a great opportunity for you and for our country to do more to deal with the $12.5 billion maintenance backlog we talked about, to preserve and protect these great treasures. We just went through a process in Congress of considering this. In fact, the legislation, which was tied in with the centennial last year, the National Park Centennial Act, passed in the wee hours of the morning just about a month ago. It passed with the indispensable help of the chair and ranking members here today. It's something I've worked on for 9 years, going back to my time as Office of Management and Budget Director, where we put a centennial challenge together. The challenge is essentially in two parts. One, it helps with regard to the Park Service by allowing private sector funds to be raised to match federal funding. And then second, it helps the foundation to be able to raise funds. That money, by the way, will be within your discretion. And I hope some of it will be used for this deferred maintenance, and I hope some of it will be used for some other special projects to enhance our parks. So my question to you today is, are you aware of this program and its potential? Let me give you an example. Thanks to Lisa Murkowski and others on the Appropriations Committee, even before it was authorized a month ago, some of this was happening, and the match expected to be 1-to-1 was almost 2-to-1. In other words, $1 of federal funding resulted in $2 of private sector funding coming into the parks. I think it could be much greater than that in the foundation as an example. So how do you feel about the program? Are you supportive of it? And specifically, would you support funding this in our appropriation cycle?
Thank you for the question, and I am aware of it. I think it's a great opportunity. One is as a Secretary of Interior, as it turns out, I have a number of boards with a diversity of talent, both in business and in conservation. And foundations like this offer a unique opportunity for innovation and looking at different ways of not only funding our parks, but also looking at protecting our parks. Trail building is, I think, is an opportunity we need to look at, how to reestablish a national trail building program. A lot of that, I would assume, is going to come from the private sector. So I think the foundation and other boards are a unique opportunity to leverage, and I'm a strong proponent of it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and we will need your help as we get in the appropriation cycle. There's so many other priorities, and this one is crucial given the state of the parks. I will say in Ohio, we don't have a lot of federal public lands, as you and I discussed. We do have a beautiful park, Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which is top 10 in visitation. And so when you're on your tour somewhere between Hawaii and Montana, we expect you to drop into Ohio and to see one of the great suburban parks in America, where there's access to a huge population in the area, and a lot of young people and a lot of schools are involved and engaged, which is exactly what we need more of, as you said, getting the millennials involved. With regard to rules and orders that the department has finalized in the last 60 days prior to your confirmation, should you be confirmed, I'm concerned. I've heard constituents worried about job losses, other economic impacts. In general, what is your plan with regard to sort of 11th hour rules that have come in, and specifically with regard to the stream buffer rule, what are your thoughts?
Well, I find the 11th hour rule to be problematic because what it shows to me that previous to that, there was no either collaboration or the collaborative effort was not effective. And so generally, the last hour rules result in distrust and policy that I think is not conducive of a collaborative and trust relationship. If confirmed, we'll look at whatever is in my power, authority, and evaluate. Everything's on the table as it should be. Specifically different rules, but in general, when you had a last-minute rule, that means it was a last-minute decision, and there wasn't working with this body to make sure we have a solution that should stand.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and particularly on stream buffer rule in eastern Ohio and cold country, it's problematic. Finally, Great Lakes, I won't ask you to answer because my time is expiring, but Senator Stabenow, I asked you a little about the invasive species part of this. Fish and Wildlife is very helpful there. They do the monitoring for us, and, you know, they're the early warning signal, really, for the big head carp coming up and other invasive species. So we look forward to working with you that, and I appreciate your commitment to her and to us, those of us who want to help preserve that great treasure of our Great Lakes. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Commander.
Senator Portman.